Hi everybody, today we're sitting on the Celtic Empire so I can show you how I gear this civilization. So we're just going to get right to it, and as the pikeman, the creep spear, as I have shown in my other 3 videos, is the best spear to have. Now I don't have it yet. This is the newest civilization that we have, and I'm working on playing creep more so I can get more points, because it is 4,000 creep points, so it's not the easiest to get, and I don't feel like doing creep every day, all day to get it. So right now I'm just using the DPS spear, and then also just Athena's tunic. I don't know, I haven't looked if there's a tunic out there with heavy duty cavalry armor, because as you all know that there's cavalry armor for the other 3 civilizations, but it's not tunic based, it's actual armor based. And then for this unit, because as you know I try to keep one of everything for 4 slot, I have greaves, but these greaves have the same speed as boots, so it's the exact same thing. And with war paint, I have the best damage war paint in the game. Long swordsmen are your best unit for the Celtic Empire, hands down. With the gear that I have on here right now, my infantry armor is 0.75, which is extremely good. I have the Swords of Means that gives me some infantry armor. There is a shield out there, King Minor shield or something like that, that has 18% more infantry armor plus 7% health but no damage. So another 18% would probably take my 0.75 into the 90s, I'd like to say, maybe close to 100, and that would make you very strong against infantry. But I do not have that shield, and if I could get my hands on it, I probably would use it, because I would probably make my long swordsman a tank versus maps for infantry anyway, and that would just help out. But right now I have Shield of Rostam plus Theseus tunic for more infantry armor, Ramses, and then best war paint. I do suggest you guys get gauntlets level 32 plus on this. Anything under 32 is a waste of your money. Now when it comes to roads used to be really strong, but they got nerfed in the summer patch, so we're going to have to live with that. But I have DPS gear on him, so I have the strongest axe, the strongest horn, and then the strongest war paint for DPS. Now I do not know what the champion stats are with this sword. Without this sword, it was at 72 or 73 infantry armor. Now with the sword, I don't know what it is. It's got to be in the higher 70s. Same as the long swordsman. I have the breastplate of Gilgamesh for some infantry armor. Sadly, they don't get a shield. I put a training sword on them, and then also the war paint. Slingers I don't use often, so I just put some any gear that I found that was decent. I put this sling on there for ragged bonus damage plus range, a Torque of Death dealer, and then level 34 gauntlets. For my bowmen, as we all know that things have changed with the bowmen. They're still pretty decent. They're not as overpowered as they once were, but I still have some range gear on them, like Action, arrows, and bow. I use Torque of Pathfinder for more damage. It's unknown to me if the critical is worth it anymore, because the critical has changed so much. I don't know. And I make this unit cheaper. If I do use this unit and it has to have more DPS, I will put the Ramses on, or I will put the other gauntlets on. For my scouts are all geared the same besides the Egyptians. I suggest nobody buy the Linens and Means and try to get something like this, because the Linens and Means is too much money. And with these 3 items, you get more line of sight than just the Linens and Means alone. This is level 15 sword. The top level is 16, as you get 10% line of sight. This Gorget is level 25, and the top level is 26. The line of sight to this is 36. And this is level 24, and the line of sight of this is 45. For the spyglass, if you are going to get a lower level and you do not get the sword, the Linens and Means, I suggest you get anything above 20 that will give you 39. Level 20 is like 39 point something. You want about 40% line of sight, or you're just wasting your money. The Horseman is an unknown unit to me. The Cavalry is not the greatest, but right now I have the Spear of Gilgamesh for more critical. As I said in a past video, I'm looking for other spears that have more hit points than that, as long as it doesn't kill my total DPS. The Saragon horse armor, as you see in almost every video, and I think in every video, that's the only horse armor I do use. And I do not have any more of those 17% cheaper, so this is what I'm using. I'm not going to buy the 7% cheaper gauntlets, so right now I'm using battle scrolls for this unit. Now, the Swan ship is a little different from the other civilizations. The Tremes, I've always said, are garbage. Don't use it. It's crap, yada yada yada. But the Swan ship, on the other hand, is actually very powerful. It shoots many more arrows. It, as I assume, does much more damage. And what I decided to do with the Swan ship is put a little range on them so they can attack further. And then with ship advisors, they do very well. I do the DPS bow because I do want them to have damage. And this is what I mean the range. I do put the legend arrows. I guess you could put the range bow on there if you want. You won't lose a lot of DPS, but I wouldn't play legend pirates with it. And then I have this range gear. Everybody uses runic heavy armoring. It's the best armor out there really for plated, unless the best overall, I'd say. And then Hull of Leviathan is a must for this ship. My druids, I use a staff for speed because I like them to be fast because they do a lot of healing. Also, this tunic you buy at one of the Empire stores in somebody's home city. I like it for the Pierce armor. And then of course sandals for more speed. If you do not want the Pierce armor and you want to really put speed on this guy, you also can put the tunic right here, double stitched, for speed, but this one I use in battle. A lot of the ones I don't use in battle, so I don't put the speed on, but these two I have used in battle. Now this is my favorite unit in the game because he does convert, not convert, but sacrifice animals so you can do stronger things with them. Like you can sacrifice a deer so you can train faster or are stronger in DPS or move faster. And there's one more, I can't think of it offhand. But anyways, I put maximum range on here and convert siege. I like to have him actually be able to take more damage. I probably would prefer this tunic over this, but this one I got a drop, so I'm just using it. But this one would probably do better. And then with him, I like the train time to be faster. When it comes to your villager, it's the same setup as it is on everything besides the Egyptians. Hammer of Keveth, the cheaper to train, faster to train, not cheaper, excuse me. And then a wood chitin. As I've said in other videos, you have the choice between wood or food. A lot of people like food because your farms collect food faster. But as I've said before, I feel, in my honest opinion, that you're going to need wood way more than you're going to need food in an early game to get your economy up and running. You got to build those 20 farms before you can ever use those 20 farms. You got to build all those houses and buildings and whatnot. So if you're going to use a food chitin, the only thing that's going to benefit from it early game is your villagers collecting berries or hunting animals. You're not going to get full benefit of that until late game, so I would suggest you get the one for wood, because you got to build all those things, and you'll get your economy up sooner, so you can beat the map sooner instead of waiting for the AI to get too big. Fishing ships, you get any net that has over 14% gather food. Arrows, you want Hades arrows, but if you can't get your hands on them, this will do. You want speed armor. And here you want the force slot that makes it less expensive but has less damage and health, but this is a fishing ship, so it doesn't matter. But if you can't get your hands on that, you want to get something for speed so you can actually get food back faster. I only have 2 civilizations that have that force slot. Transports are pure speed. This is the best speed gear in the game. Well, minus the sail. And I think the Hades arrows can go to 2.2 speed. But this is, I'm pretty sure, the best plates. And then if you want, you can put legend ores on here, but me, I don't want to spend that kind of money on a transport. And caravans are exactly the same with everything. Every civilization, you go speed gear over anything else. And if you want, and you're in my alliance, you can get a hood that has 7.1 speed for 225k. There's 2 ways to go with a town center. You can go pure health like I do, or cheaper. There are walls out there for 3rd slot that I have that will make it 3.5% cheaper, and then there's a bow out there that's very rare to find. It's a level 39, I believe, which makes it 4% cheaper. You'll save about 14 to 20, I think, in each resource per town center. You could go that way. Do not use silver pointed arrows. They do not work for building something, only training something. As you are not training your town center, you are building it. Everyone will agree Ares training manual is the best. If anybody says otherwise, if anybody says that this is the best, they are totally mistaken, and please do not use this for your town center. Now, what I have is, I'm just going to go over it so you can see the health that I have. These arrows are drop only, but the other 2 are craftable. The reason why I do DPS is so if on maps like Paphos or Skirmish or the elite maps in Cyprus, if my town center does get hit, it won't collapse on me when you put stuff that just makes it cheaper. But either way works for you. As we're getting into the buildings, most of my buildings will have these fortifications plus this manual. I suggest you buy these. These are going to be the 2 things you use the most in this game for your buildings. For your watch post, you have your hand-carved wall braces, level 20 to 23, and then your legend lookouts or your epic lookouts do just fine. Now, This is the only civilization I gear that's a storehouse this way, because I've messed with the training manuals on them, and for me, I felt getting them up quicker did me a little more good than training speed for the upgrades, considering I use less upgrades here than I do with the other civilizations, so I just build the storehouses as quickly as possible. But for the majority of the people, you're going to want a 7.1 book or an Ares on here. But for me, I don't use many upgrades for the Celtic Empire in there, so I just build it quickly. The houses are all the same, build time, but in the Celtic I don't do build time for the house, and this is the main reason. I did have build time on here, but because houses are needed to age, I decided to take how fast they build to make them cheaper, because you need 20 houses built to get to age 4. So I suggest you get one of them to help build and one of them to the iron wall joints to make them cheaper. If you really want them cheaper and don't care about build time, you can get these walls and put them down here, and then make them as cheap as you possibly can. But I find 11% is just enough. I do like a little build speed on top of it. Even though I have the Hammer of Keveth, it does still help. As you see, the same 2 combo with the farms are same in every civilization. Cheaper and then cheaper. I do not feel like paying 100 wood for my farms, so I make them as cheap as possible. The market, the same 2 combination. Okay, when it comes to my towers, I use this bow. It's the one I always use with these arrows, and that, or you could use range with Titan walls. Now, when it comes to the wall joints, you can use the iron wall joints, but I suggest you don't. I mean, you could use build time, blueprints, but in my honest opinion, once you have a hammer that has build time on it, like Craftsman Hammer, or Blessed Hammer, or Hammer of Keveth, or if there's any other hammers out there that I don't know about right now, this doesn't matter because, for example, Paphos, you have enough time with 3 villagers to get up as many towers as you need to before the AI attack you with the starting stone that you get. And then all you have to do is buy the rest of the stone for your upgrades and aging. It's really simple. I never mine for stone on Paphos, and we beat it in 20 minutes or less every time, and that's by turtling and taking our time. So if I were you, I would get legend wall joints. Now if these wall joints hit 40, if those ever drop, then I might be saying a different tune and I will be letting everybody know. But right now, at this moment, right here today, legend wall joints are better. Going down, as you see, I have the same 2 on these. As I said, you'll see this used on most of my buildings over and over again. It comes to my fortresses, the same bow as you've always seen, plus the same arrows and the same Titan walls. Of course, range arrows could be used for you if that's what you like. And for forts, besides my Egyptians, I like to build them as fast as possible. My rams, as you've seen on my other videos, if you watch, I try to get speed gear on them. Rams are only 1 population, so they're low armor, so I make sure that they have damage behind them. So I would suggest you getting the legend ram head, but everything else you're going to go for speed. This is the only time this breastplate is actually useful in this game ever, and then legendary wheels. The wonder, I get cheaper and build faster, it doesn't really matter. The gold mine, I go for cheaper and build faster. And this is the most useless unit in the game, so I just threw 2 epic items on there that are cheap and something useless. I'll never use it unless they buff it. And last but not least, the stone thrower has very low range and very low DPS, so those are the two things you were wanting to add to